Chelsea against Manchester City. We've got that coming up this weekend. It will be at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea at top with 13 points from their first 5 games. City with 10 points from 5. Ian Darke, this could be a good one, couldn't it?
It could, and of course, Chelsea have beaten Manchester City the last 3 times they've played them, and seem to have a little bit of a side over them. Thomas Tuchel has kind of outthought Pep Guardiola, so City have got a point to prove. They're coming off that 0-0 draw against Southampton, which was pretty uninspired. Chelsea were fantastic in the second half at Tottenham, not the first half, of course, but they look like champions-elect, don't they, at the moment? Liverpool do too, mind you. It's a great race, but I remember Manchester City coming to Stamford Bridge in the recent past with a point to prove last season and putting on a really big performance and winning the game and showing what they're about. And I just wonder whether this fixture will concentrate their minds quite wonderfully. So I'm intrigued to see what happens. But you would have to say, on form at the moment, Chelsea are favourites.
Will the fixture deliver, Stevie, for you?
I'm not so sure. You know, for me, the biggest difference in the size is going to be Lukaku. Chelsea's got a goal scorer, and Manchester City don't. You know, I can see Chelsea sitting tight early on. I can see City coming forward. I'm trying to figure out where the goals are going to come from City, but then I can see Chelsea keeping City out and then breaking, and then Lukaku scoring to put them ahead, and then they shut up shop. That's kind of what I see. I don't see a 4-3 or anything like that. I see this as Chelsea showing that they are a side, that they stick together whatever it is they do, and I see them keeping City out. So I can see a Chelsea win, but I don't see it being a classic.
Jules, you gave us a combined 11 for these two sides. Would you like to talk us through it?
Yes, definitely. It was. I mean, some positions were really hard. We decided to go for a 4-3-3 and not the back 3 that Chelsea are playing under Thomas Tuchel since he took over Frank Lampard in goal. That was maybe the toughest. I went for Ederson simply on experience because I think he's got far more than Mendy. Mendy has been amazing since he joined from Rennes, especially under Tuchel. Then the back 4, Reece James at right back. I went with Cancelo at left back because I still think that Marcos Alonso is more of a wing back really than the left back. Ruben Diaz and Thiago Silva. The Thiago Silva that we saw against Tottenham was just phenomenal at 37 years old. The 3 in midfield, Jorginho, of course, to dictate the play with N'Golo Kante and Kevin De Bruyne. I think on those 3, we're pretty certain that you would go with those 3. And then up front, Lukaku as a number 9, of course, because City don't have one. And then on the wings, I went with Mason Mount on one side and Phil Foden on the other side. Of course, you could have had Kai Havertz if you want, Raheem Sterling, Riyad Mahrez, you know, whoever else you fancied, Bernardo Silva if you want. But I felt the Mount, Foden, Lukaku combination could be pretty lethal if they play together. So I think this is a pretty good-looking starting 11.
Jules, do you think there's a winner in this game at the weekend?
I don't. I think a draw everybody will be happy with. I think Chelsea would be cautious. I think, like they always are against City, I think City would be cautious to go away, to face Lukaku, not to expose themselves, because you know that Lukaku now can, if you play the high line, can take that space, which no one at Chelsea could really do last season, not because Werner doesn't have pace, he has a lot of pace, but doesn't know what to do with it. Now it's very different, so I can see a very cautious approach from both teams. I could easily see this one finishing 0-0, which would be a shame. I would go for a 1-1 draw, but I really believe there will be a draw.
Ian, did you like Jules's combined 11?
I've got a bit of a feeling about Mason Mount at the moment that he's just not quite himself. He's had so many games, about 80 for club and country in the last year, and I just think he's, for him, slightly off it. And you could question Phil Foden because he's hardly had a kick so far this season because he's been recovering from injury. But you couldn't seriously argue with it. You might think about Rudiger at the back, the way he's been playing, but yeah, it's a pretty good combined 11. It's a pity we won't ever see it.
Can I just highlight something? Because I don't want the moment to pass without mentioning the fact that we know from the past that Stevie Nicol doesn't feel very strongly about Romelu Lukaku, right? And yet, the first thing that he said in differentiating this teams, Manchester City and Chelsea, was indeed, Lukaku! Lukaku! That's the name he brought up. So write it down. This is a moment in which Stephen Nicol admits the greatness of Romelu Lukaku.
Stevie?
The proof is in the pudding, as they say. And yes, I do believe that Lukaku will. But I think he's shown so far this season that he's a man now. I always felt that one of his problems was that he didn't realise how good he could be. I think he understands now that he's the man. You know, he's demanding the ball now. When he was at Manchester United, he was quite happy to be told to go and stand wide. He'd be like, yes, how far wide do you want me to stand and how long do you want me to stand there? Now he's dominating. He's actually telling people he wants the ball. This is where I'm going to be. This is where I need the ball. So to me, he's turned into a man from just a big boy.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content plus live streaming, make sure to subscribe to ESPN Player.